walked to the Lobero Theatre, which is at the corner of Canon Perdido and Anacapa. Seen here. Easy little walk. So, Christina, what are we doing at the Lobero Theatre for our little spooky adventure?
Okay, so I talked to people at the Lobero, and they're gonna take us backstage, so we get to explore the inside of the theater. It's their 150-year Ovation celebration, so they're really excited about their history and all the things that are going on. So, also, the Lobero is supposed to be pretty haunted. They've got a few resident ghosts, which I got to talk to them about a little bit before coming, so I'm excited for them to explain to all of you a little bit about the ghost stories here, and we're just going to see what happens.
Okay, we'll see what's happening. I'm excited just generally because I love theater. It's actually a theater major, UCSB, go Gauchos.
Radio TV film? Close enough.
Just arts people working in transit, no big deal. But I'm excited because it's a beautiful venue. I've been here many times. Is this your first time here?
Well, no, second, because piano's on stage.
Right, but first time inside.
First time inside.
First time inside. And yeah, it's really nice. So we will meet with the fine folks. By the way, someone playing the piano now. Group of people. Piano's on stage, still going.
They were playing some spooky themes earlier.
There's some going on. So now we're gonna go and meet with the Lobero folks.
I'm Mary Ann Clark. I'm the Administrative Director of the Lobero Theatre. I have been here for 25 years, so little experience with the things that happen here at the theater. The original Lobero Theatre was opened in 1873 by Jose Giuseppe Lobero. He did that with a loan from Colonel W.W. Hollister. And what he did was took an old adobe schoolhouse, the Sebastopol schoolhouse, and renovated it, created a facade that went all the way down to the sidewalk at Canon Perdido, and it was a very different theater than we have here today. It had a balcony, seated more like 1,500 people, and really was host to all kinds of things from the 1870s right up to the early 1900s. There were seances, there were roller skating exhibitions, there were lots of spiritualism came through, just a variety of really interesting acts that are very unlike the kind of things we see on our stage today.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the spiritualism? I saw it in the history, so I was curious about that. And
I don't know as much about it as I would like. You know, we didn't have the Fox sisters or any of the really big spiritualist names, I don't think. I just know that in the late 1800s, when spiritualism was all the rage across the country, there were a number of people who came to both display seances and spiritualist acts, and there were people who were here to debunk them as well. So it was kind of what was happening in America was happening on the Lobero stage.
So do you think that could have drawn anything here?
It's possible. It seems like anytime you go to a theater with any history, there's somebody who will say that they're a ghost. It's almost required that theaters have ghosts. So I think that it's possible that the people who perform here are less skeptical because they experience them. They experience those energies, and you know, we have a story of. I'll tell you about Dr. Frank Fowler. He started the Alacama Theater, which later moved to City College, and then I think to the actual Alacama Theater when it was built. But it started here on the Lobero stage, and he would show up on opening nights wearing a top hat and a tuxedo at tails, you know, very formal. You know, this was his baby, and he treated it with a lot of respect. We had a dance company who was here in residency for an entire month, so they were on this stage practicing, building dance every day for a month. And one day our publicist walked through to see how things were going, and they said, "Do you have a ghost?" And she said, "Yeah, we have ghosts." "Why?" And he said, "Do you have one who wears a top hat?" I said, "Yeah, we do. That's Dr. Fowler." And so they had literally experienced this very specific thing that they had never heard of before.
Well,
so, you know, I guess take that for what you will.
Nice.
So we are in the green room now, and we're actually below the office where Harry Padilla used to stay. He was a stagehand and served as a night watchman before the Lobero had a security system. And so he actually slept in the room upstairs and he passed away there. One of the most prevalent ghost experiences in the theater is that people hear just stage work going on. They hear people walking up and down the hallway, they hear toilets flushing, they hear equipment across the stage, lights go on and off, things like that. So everybody just sort of feels that Harry's still here doing his work.
Nice.
Friendly ghost.
Friendly ghost. Yeah, should we walk up
Yeah.
that equipment and see what
Let's
happens
see.
in the hallway?
Yeah, I'm hoping it goes red.
Okay.
This is Harry's room.
Okay. Now it's an office. Okay.
I don't know if he's here. It's still green.
Still green.
Still green. Maybe he only comes
Well,
out
he's here
and-
at night. Yeah.
That's right.
He's off doing stuff during the day.
I think Harry's not here today.
Yeah. He's out.
Well, the flushing toilet would be down here. Keep looking.
All right. So Hillary now has the EMF recorder because I'm just wondering if it's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let her do it, you know, just in case.
I'm skeptical.
She's
so,
skeptical.
Like, you know, they're gonna try to prove to me that they exist.
All right, Ghosty. Just wondering where Harry's at.
Do people generally hear that at night, or?
I would say that, and the people I've talked to have had the experiences. It tends to be while we're in the theater alone. Because of course that's when you'd be able to hear creaking noises and footsteps in the hallway and things like that. People locking up the theater at night and having, you know, they go and shut off all the lights and they come back and the lights back on. Those kinds of experiences. So they really tend to happen on a very personal level.
Sure.
The theater's full of people, you're going to miss entirely.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's spending time alone in the theater.
Right.
That's it.
Well, Hillary, maybe we should leave you alone in the theater for a couple minutes. just for a few minutes. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so we're going down into the basement where there's a washer and dryer. That's spooky.
As you find in basements. But there are also chorus girl dressing rooms, as we call them.
Of course.
Classic theater
Yeah. Oh yeah.
spaces.
Nice.
Basements always creep me out.
They're rare around here.
Where are you going?
What's that?
Where are you going?
Oh, are you recording?
Yeah, I'm a ghost meter. I was like, don't leave me here.
Still green.
Meter, you're disappointing me.
No dead chorus girls. Ooh, well, this is a creepy old door.
So we're standing actually directly below the Lobero stage. That wood right there is the bottom side of the stage. It was the late 90s. I had just started working here. In fact, I had just gotten my alarm code. I was very excited. And my husband and I came down here in October because we were looking for Halloween costumes, and there was a stack of disused costumes sitting in the corner over here. So we come in, I punch in my code, we come down the stairs and start looking around. And suddenly we both look up because we hear what sounds like a heavy equipment box rolling from that corner of the stage over to the corner of the stage where we were. And my husband said, "What is that?" I said, "Somebody must be here." So I walked back up the stairs and I called out. Nobody was here. I knew nobody was here. But our stage door used to be very old and rattly. And it was a stormy night. So I said, you know, I'm sure we just heard the storm and the door rattling. So came back down, continued our search. A few minutes later, the sound of wheels rolling diagonally again, right back across the stage. So once again, I crept up the stairs to see if I could see anybody. Of course, nobody was there. When I turned around, standing at the bottom of the stairs was my husband with a big prop spear in his hand. And that's when I decided we better go. If he was that scared, I was getting out of here. So we grabbed a couple of things and turned the alarm back on and left.
What time of day was it?
It was night. It was probably 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't necessarily believe, but I sure don't know how to explain that. One of the old theater traditions that you don't whistle in a theater, that actually comes from...
Oh, I didn't know that.
That actually comes from shipping ships, tall ships and things like that, because big mast ships, the way that they signaled, to pull lines and move things around was by whistle commands. And when these theaters were built, when this theater was built, it was built with hemp ropes that are very similar to the rigging in tall ships. And so when I got here, we actually had a hemp rope system. I think we were the last hemp system theater in California. And we adopted a more modern system right around 2001.
Anything?
Just whistling, you know?
Just whistling.
Dangerous.
Sometimes do that random whistling.
All right.
So just a little more history.
All right.
So just a little more history. The Lobero Theatre Foundation was deeded to Lobero in 1995. So before that, it had been owned by the county. So the first thing the foundation did was undertake a long series, about 20 years worth of capital improvements. And one of the big things we did was upgraded the rigging because, as I mentioned, there was an old hemp system, there were sandbags, and it required lots of big guys to move big sets on all these pulley systems. And so by adding this more modern system with counterweights, it makes it so that sets can come in and out with fewer stagehands, which is really your most expensive cost when you're in the theater. And it can be done more efficiently, more quickly, and basically makes the theater more accessible to the community, financially, physically, in all ways. So that's really what we've been trying to do since the mid-90s. We upgraded the lighting system and the sound systems. And then in 2013, we did everything in front of the stage. We replaced our seats. We touched up this beautiful, iconic ceiling. We added lighting. It used to be just the chandelier that lit the whole auditorium, but now you can see we have up lighting on all the columns. When our designers were researching, because we're a historic building, it had to be done to respect and reflect that history. They came in here with these big torches, these big spotlights. They're like, what is that at the top of the columns? None of us had ever seen it before. There are comedy and tragedy masks alternating on each column that had never been seen because they'd never been lit. They're still a little difficult to see because they're not particularly big, but if you stand right under them with the lights shining up, you can see them.
Nice.
It's a detail of Lobero that was uncovered in 2013. On April Fool's Day, 1938, there was a production of Golden Boy happening here on the Lobero stage, directed by Stella Adler. And there was an actor named Joseph Greenwald. He was here on the stage. He delivered the line, "I've waited for this moment all my life," and then he dropped dead of a heart attack right here. The audience had no idea what was going on. They thought it was part of the scene. I believe that they laughed. I believe that they, responded the way you would.
Yeah.
The curtain immediately dropped, and the company came and took him off stage. But that's not a very common occurrence for somebody to die on stage, and you can say that Lobero has one of those.
Whoa. Do you ever get, has he ever been seen?
I don't think anybody has specifically reported that. Not on the stage. If so, I haven't heard about it. There is a female architect named Luda Maria Riggs. She was a draftswoman for George Washington Smith on this project. And there are definitely people who say that they have felt her presence here in the theater, which would make a lot of sense. She not only helped to design this theater, but she continued to be involved all the way up until the 80s, until she died. So she was involved in the 1968 campaign, and I believe that she was involved in a campaign in the early 80s. So she had a long she had a long history with the theater, and she absolutely loved it. This is the Lobero's Ghost Light. The Ghost Light is a tradition that dates back to Shakespearean times. At the end of every night, there would be a light left on stage. This is another one of those things where there are multiple theories about why it exists. Some say it was to welcome the ghosts who wanted to come and perform at night while the theater was available. But of course, the very practical reason is that theaters are dark and you might have a
Dangerous.
yeah, you might have a trap door open. You don't want somebody walking in and running into a set or falling through a trap door. So
You don't want to make another ghost.
Right.
that's right. That's right. The unghost light.
So both ghosts and risk managers appreciate the ghost light.
I think that when you have a theater and you have people who are passionate, directors, actors, there's a good chance that they leave a trace of their energy where they have spent such remarkable time on the stage, behind the scenes, doing these things that they love. So I think it's that as much as anything.